Oh, yeah, The Flash is back. No, not the Ezra Miller, although that's on its way. But that other Flash, that's not as complicated. Surprisingly, the better of the two. Despite the fact that the show went down the toilet some time ago. Was once not bad. But, yeah, I've beaten that horse to death long after its demise. So anyway, stuck with it. Might as well finish it out. So finally got around to watching the premiere episode of its final season, and they decided to just do a ripoff of Groundhog Day. But it's okay because they actually mentioned, hey, this is like the movie Groundhog Day. So see, that's how you can do that. And not completely. I mean, you know, there's always been time travel and whatnot in the Flash. But I guess they kind of sort of explain as to why it happened. But, you know, they keep repeating the same day. And it turns out Barry has mapped out his future with Iris because they already know they're kids because they've met them from the future. And they let slip certain things about where they end up. And one of the main things is Iris's media company that she somehow pulled out of her ass after being a reporter. And now Catco, you know, the company from Cat from the Supergirl show, it doesn't really matter. It was played by Ally McBeal for a while, you know, till she got tired. And so she says, hey, I want to buy your company, and that will expand their reach and all this stuff. And all you have to do is say yes to the deal. And they thought, oh, that's the trick. Don't say yes. So she kind of sort of does, but doesn't. And charts her own way. Because that's what she needed to do. Because, see, after a while, she was getting tired of them being stuck in the time loop. Now, if they had watched Doctor Who, there's a way out. Yeah, remember when the Doctor and Romana and K9 were stuck in a time loop? Of course, theirs didn't last for 24 hours. It was only a couple of minutes. But nevertheless, they kept repeating it over and over. And suddenly realized, hey, let's deliberately do all the actions we do in the loop, and that'll break it. So that's all you got to do. But, of course, they only had to do it for a couple of minutes. Whereas the Flash and Iris would have had to have acted out their whole day. And, well, anyway. I'm not quite sure how that works either, but hey, it's Doctor Who. If anyone knows time loops, he would. But anyway, of course, Barry and Chester try to figure it out because he finally meets Captain Boomerang, except it's not Captain Boomerang. Captain Boomerang's from Australia, but I think this guy is like a successor to it. I forget the actual name of Captain Boomerang. I don't think it's Owen Mercer. But anyway, blanking on that, but, you know, I was never a big Flash fan. So, don't know all his adversaries. But anyway, I mean, I recognize Captain Boomerang, but I don't know a whole lot about him. I know he died at one point in Identity Crisis. And I think he was replaced by a younger legacy guy. Maybe his son, I can't remember. But then, you know, the universe time warp shenanigans changes all that, so it doesn't really matter. Of course, he died in the movies in the second Suicide Squad, so. But at least he was Australian in that one. So, because he's supposed to be. It's boomerangs. I mean, what do you know. Anyway, but the guy in the outfit and everything looked pretty close, and he had the boomerangs with explosives and all kind of stuff like that. So it's very brief, but they repeat it over and over again. They get a lot of mileage out of it thanks to the time loop. But the fight between him and the Flash is kind of cool for a few seconds, you know. But he's stealing some gadget that can warp time or whatever, so they figure that's the reason for the loop, and I guess it is. I don't know. And but all their attempts at solving it doesn't work, and so that's where they rip off, you know, Groundhog Day, because they kept blowing themselves up, but it didn't matter because the day just started over again. And eventually Iris decides she'll just do whatever she wants, drink wine, eat candy, it doesn't matter. And Barry's like, hey, we got to figure this out. And she's like, you're not hearing me. So it's one of these forced, you know, the husband has to be taken down by the wife. And she says, hey, after being trapped in that time zone thing or whatever. I just want to be or whatever. Yet she's trapped in another thing. So it's like you would think you would immediately want to get out of it. It doesn't. It's just the force templates that they do within CW. And then they kill time again with another one between Joe and Cecil. And it's terrible. It's just all of a sudden, we need to leave Central City. Why? I don't know. I thought he was going to reveal he was like, he'd been diagnosed with something and, we only have a little time left or something like that, you know. But now he just, after all this craziness, I think we need to leave the town. Even though his wife now has, her powers are greatly advanced now. She's not just telepathic, but she has telekinesis and stuff. It's kind of like Jean Grey now. But he figures, now's the time for us to go somewhere quiet. So, they just threw that in there, but it was just to slow it down so they could stretch out the time for them to have these repetitive conversations they always have. And so there you go. And then at the end, the big reveal, Caitlin or Frost. No, it's Caitlin Frost. I guess that's what was created in last season's little resurrection tube or whatever. And like her boyfriend said, "Who are you?" Well, it's Caitlin. She just has little blue strips of hair in her hair. So she's totally unrecognizable. And then, the other thing was, which I guess they revealed, the Red Death, if you knew anything about the Batman Who Laughs, and they did all these dark versions of Batman. And in one dark multiverse world, he killed the Flash and stole his powers and became the Red Death. Well, in this version, there's no Batman, of course, so it's Batwoman, and she killed the Flash and took his powers. And so that's who this shadowy speedster is at the end. That guy. Turns out Captain Boomerang was working for the Red Death. So that's how they'll give Batwoman a send-off. An evil version of Batwoman. Well, maybe the good Batwoman will show up. God help us. And there's supposed to be a bunch of crossover cameos from all the CW All-Stars. And so there you go. And apparently Green Arrow will come back too, because, why not? And that's about it. Just a Groundhog Day ripoff. And, the forced stuff that Barry had their whole lives mapped out. And, but Iris just wants to live it, So he burns his book that has their entire future mapped out. But since he's the one who wrote it, he's still going to know. I don't know. Anyway, I forget. She does something with the company. It doesn't matter. And and Chester and what's her name? Alexa, I think. They finally kiss. I thought they'd already had, but they kissed. And so you're supposed to go, ooh, and so there you go. Finally, well, great. I don't care. So anyway, there you go. They had to live through their crappy episode over and over again. Boy, that's some severe punishment, huh? But I didn't. I only watched it once while doing laundry. So it's possible I missed missed a few significant details. But I doubt it,